to get my blacksmithing stuff all set up again for the season. I wait until fall typically to do any blacksmithing because that's when I have time and that's when the weather's nice. And so what I wanted to show you guys today, I've never done a video on this, but I made my own blacksmithing hammers, and I just wanted to kind of show those off, and especially for new blacksmiths, I wanted to show you how you can make your own hammers, and it's really pretty easy. So these are all set up here. And I'll show you how I have these fastened on the anvil as well. So this is the one that I typically use the most. And what I did is I took a straight peen hammer and I took the head off of the handle and I smoothed all this out. I refaced it, kind of put a slight round in the face, and this is just a little 3-pound hammer. And then I rehung it. I made my own handles, and you'll notice the handle is really short and it's kind of wide, but it's also thin. And the reason for that is because when you're blacksmithing, you kind of choke up on your hammer a little bit anyways, and that's just the perfect fit for me to maintain a straight, flat strike where it fits the shape of my hand. So everybody has different preference, but again, since I made my own, I made it the way I wanted it. So that's that one. And then using the same cross peen hammerhead, I made a couple variations. So this one, the peen is the same, but on the face of it, I really rounded it off. I mean, it's got a really, I guess you'd say a really sharp crown, and you know, these need to be cleaned up. They've been outside in the weather. But anyway, the reason for that is because with it having more of a rounded crown face like that, it works really well for putting divots in the metal if you're going for that look, and it also works really well to move a lot of metal fast, because when it makes that strike, it's really pushing the metal out. So that's that one with the same handle. Then this one I made, it's a cross peen hammer, but I cut down into it with my grinder, and all of these I shaped with a grinder, just a 4.5-inch angle grinder, really simple, really easy. But I've got the cross peen at a point here, and then I brought the front to a vertical peen. And what I use this hammer for primarily is decorative work, so like leaf making. You can use this to shape your leaf. This started out as a 3-pound. I removed so much material that it's now a 2-pound. But again, it's perfect for decorative, or if you're needing to make a sharp crease, you know, sharp crease in any direction. Works really well for that. So that's more of a decorative setup. Okay, and then I have two different sizes of this. This is just a ball peen hammer. I didn't do anything to change it. This is a heavy one. I think it's a 2-pound, 2-pound ball peen. Works great for small work, and also the peen size works great for like spoons and things like that, where you need about that size of a peen. And then I also have a smaller peen as well, and it's about a pound and a half. So don't use those a whole lot. And then you need a heavy hitter, and this is almost too big to have on a short handle like this. I mean, this was a sledgehammer head, and it's a 6-pound head, so it's a smaller sledgehammer head. But you know, I heated it up and I did some decorative work on it. You know, just some chisel work, kind of playing around. Put my maker's mark on the side of it, on both sides. And then I took the face of it, and one side has a lot of crown, a lot of, you know, it's rounded off quite a bit, and then the other side, I guess this is actually the side that's rounded off the most. Anyways, this one is rounded off a lot, and this one not so much. But that's my heavy hitter. So when I'm working on a heavy piece and I have a lot of metal to move, this is my go-to. So it's definitely not one you want to use all day. You'll wear your arm out. But if you're working on a heavy piece and you just need to move some metal quick, that's an excellent hammer. And again, all I did with all of these is shape them with a grinder. I removed them from the original handle, made my own handle, and then this is the only one that I heated up and did some decorative work. I actually did that with my propane forge, you know, just to kind of play around with that a little bit. So this is another one of the hammers that I built myself, and it's got a nice long handle on it, so you can use a second person if you need to, or a lot of times when this is called a flatter, and a lot of times when you're using this, you need to lay it on top of the workpiece and have your hands free. And so part of the reasoning for the long handle is that you can put that between your legs and hold it with your thighs while you're striking on it. And I have a video on this one. This was also a pretty simple build. That's a 4" by 4" half-inch thick plate that I heated everything up, and then I welded this. Now I welded that quite a bit. There's 3 passes there with the MIG welder, and then I put the completed piece in the forge, heat treated it, and then I went back and I softened up this part of it so that it wouldn't chip off. You know, you don't want the striking surface to be as hard as you do the face. So and then I just put a long sledge handle in it. It's about a 2-foot long handle. So again, I did a video on that one, so check it out and you can actually see the process of how I made it. And then I have a lot of other tools. I have a video on this one. This is a hot or cold cut that drops in the hardy hole. And then I also made another one. Instead of a cutoff, this is for shaping, and all this is a hitch ball that I did some shaping on, and then I flattened out the threaded portion. I hammered it down and made it where it fits in my hardy hole also. So, and those are just for various types of work. You know, you get into all kinds of different things in blacksmithing. So I'll show you real quick how I have these positioned on my anvil stump. All this is a piece of thin bar, or a thin strap. It's less than 1/8 inch thick, and I've got it bent and bolted right here. And I've got 2 pieces of it, or actually it was 1 piece, and I just made a kind of a ring. But you can see I've got it bolted again over here, and then I've got the spacing where it's just right to drop my hammer handles in, and some of my attachments, and it just works out great. Everything fits right in there. And the way I have that set up, I typically work off of this side of the anvil, unless it's just a special thing where I have to get on the other side. But this is the side of the anvil that I work off of, and you're mainly working right in the middle of the heaviest, most solid part of your anvil. That's where you want to do your most material movement. And then you've got your step you can use for cutting and chiseling, which I have a plate that I lay here. I don't like to chisel and cut straight onto my anvil. And then of course your horn that you would use for rounding and shaping. So I have my hammers where they're out of my way as far as work area. They're not in my way to get up close to the anvil, because I usually have my toes right up to the stump. But they're quick access, so everything is right here. You know, I can just reach over and grab it real quick. And you know, typically when I'm working, if I'm working a piece, when I go to put it in the forge to heat it up again, I'll leave my hammer laying on the anvil, or I might leave it setting up. And that way when I come back, I lay my piece down to work, grab my hammer, go back to work, and I don't have to have a lot of downtime, because you know, as soon as you bring your piece over and you lay it on that anvil, it starts to suck the heat out of it, and you've just got a short period of time to get your work done. So, and in case you're wondering, I've done a video on this anvil. This is an anvil that I had to reface and recondition. It was in pretty rough shape when I got it, but it's an Armitage mouse hole anvil, and with all the work I've done to it, it's about somewhere between 115 and 120 pounds. It was originally 113 pounds, but it had a lot of damage. So anyway, I'm about to get rained on here, but that's my setup as far as my hammers go. And there again, you know, everybody does it differently, but that's an idea for somebody starting out. That's a pretty simple way to come up with some of your basic hammers and not have to go out and spend a whole lot of money. You know, those cross peen hammers, little 3-pounders, I had several of those just laying around the shop. So, you know, I put them to good use. And then again, the heavy hitter, that's a 6-pound. So anyway, I'll stop there for the day, and thanks for watching.